Good morning, United Kingdom. Good morning, United Kingdom, and apologies for the delay. We were waiting for our guest and for Lakhi Singh. Apparently, I think everything all right, Lakhi Singh. There was a bit of delay of you getting on, or what?
I had a couple of things to sort out.
Bits to sort out. Right. Okay. Have you sorted your bits out?
Bits are sorted then.
Excelente, excelente. Right. Okay. Well, we'll start the day as usual. Ask Lakhi Singh. What is the weather like there in the square mile? Are you in the square mile this morning?
No, I'm traveling in.
Okay, you're traveling in. So what's the weather like generally?
Super rainy.
Super raining.
It's raining
That's
cats and
good. Raining cats and?
dogs.
Okay. And are they bitches or are they male dogs? What type of dogs are they raining?
Well, what happened is when I was earlier, I just stepped into a poodle.
Into a poodle. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of unfunny sense. Right. Okay. Right. Good morning. Anyhow, good morning to you. The topic for today is, or the topic for the weekend is, I think, topic for the weekend, which is, I think, common in lots of people's lives. Either you run the day or the day will run you. And I assume run you down is what we're saying there. That if you don't control your day, you don't have mechanisms in to control your daily routine, the day will run you down. And the second topic, obviously, today's topic is the power of networking. I think this is probably something that's coming from it's Rajesh's. Rajesh is right. For some reason, we are still awaiting Rajesh, not turned up yet. We're still waiting for Rajesh. Hope everything's fine with him. You can never tell. So, Lakhi Singh, with the saying of the weekend, either you control your day or your day will control you. Have you ever had a situation where you haven't controlled the way you are conducting your meetings, your time management, and it has dragged you down to the extent that it's worn you out at the end of the day because you never set the correct parameters of controlling your day? Yeah.
Yeah, I've definitely been guilty
Lakhi
of that.
Singh. Yeah.
Yeah,
What happens when you do that? What's the knock-on effect?
Well, knock-on effects, it you end up focusing on the wrong type of business or wasting time in meetings that should take half an hour but end up taking 2 hours, and then missing other priorities.
Can you actually do that, Lakhi? Is that possible to have a 2-hour meeting when you should have a half an hour meeting? Does that happen in London, in the square mile? Do people have that much time to spend 2 hours when they should only be doing a half an hour meeting?
I think a London meeting tends to be about 10 minutes, fast-paced, about 15 minutes, 10 minutes.
10 minutes. Okay. So, what's your average time for a meeting?
I think my average is about, I'd say about a year ago, it was probably about an hour, maybe an hour and a half. Now they tend to be about, maybe about 25 minutes tops.
Excellent. Excellent. So you've become a bit of a city boy now, so you're not taking that much time out to talk to clients about lots of other things, and you're just getting to the point with clients. Is that right?
That's right. I mean, the most there'll be is something more technical to discuss, or I need to involve somebody else in the meeting. So.
Okay. So let's have Rajesh on. We've got him backstage now, so let's have the benefit of him. We've only got about 20 minutes left. We started late today, but it's not a problem. Let's ask Rajesh. Rajesh, good morning. How are you? Rajesh is making funny clickety-click sounds. Are you making those sounds yourself, Rajesh?
Hello?
Are you impersonating
Vijay?
a car? Yes?
Hello, Vijay.
Hello?
Morning.
Yes? Can hear you. Can you hear us?
Today. Morning, Lakhi.
Morning, Raj. How you doing? Raj seems to be frozen himself.
Okay, let's continue then. What about so the topic for today is the benefits of networking? Is that right? The benefits, yeah. Power. That's right. The power of networking, Lucky. You're a avid networker. You're a very hot when it comes to networking and going to events. Do events have power?
Not really. Events don't necessarily have power. But the power of networking is when you network at events and you create the power yourself by networking and talking to people in the right way to maybe get the right type of clients or sell your services or make an impact in terms of people knowing who you are, what you can deliver.
Okay. So have you ever used networking to get clients or business in or promote the business?
So I think the bulk of my business used to come in from networking when I started looking for. I think once you've got a bit of a track record, and I think social media works pretty well now in terms of new people or clients or building up a powerful network.
Yeah. Okay. So networking does have an effect. That's what you're saying, yeah?
Yeah.
Yes? Yes?
Yes.
Yes? Yes,
Yeah.
it does. Okay. Okay, it does have power. So give me an example of the last networking event you must have gone to, because it's been a while. It's been a year since the lockdown. How many networking events do you do a year in London?
Probably about at least 2 or 3 a week. It was pre-lockdown.
Well, we've got live Sonia, John, and Mandy giving a shout out this morning. Good morning to you, all three of you. Thank you so much. Yeah, Lucky. So give us an example. How many times do you? What type of events do you go to? What's normally the end product of that? Do you get business? What happens?
I think it all depends on the type of event you go to. The more narrowly targeted the event is towards the type of business, more likely you're going to to the right type of audience. For example, we are launching a new income opportunity in the mainstream for people, property investors, or people that are looking for a new income. So that one is going to be quite mainstream. It'll be impacting people that are looking for a new income opportunity, but they up to a certain point they've been furloughed and those furloughs run out. Now they're looking for an angle back into.
Which one is that?
The RAC opportunity, Rescue Associate.
Okay.
So for that, we'll be targeting events where we're going to have a lot of people, which is going to be more mass audience, and it's likely that they're looking for some sort of investment or income opportunity to try and get a return on their time. Targeting the right events will be the first thing.
And will these people be clear? Are you normally aware of what the target audience is when you go to an event? Or is it all random?
So I'm pretty clear that to become more particular in type of thing.
Morning. Good morning, Silas. Yeah, sorry, I had some technical issues this morning. Good morning. How are we today?
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm good. Okay, Lakhi just giving us an answer, listening to it. So, Lakhi, tell us, what do you do at events? How do you work the crowd? How do you get to talk to everybody and realize which people in that networking event are your potential clientele? How do you do that?
We do quite a lot of different things. Target different events for different things. So if I'm trying to do more PR, trying to get more traction with high net people for raising equity, then that would be a different sort of event. But then if I was going to try and find more buyers or more sellers to sell properties, then that would be a different type of event, maybe more of a property networking. So it all depends on which particular type of audience I'm trying to attract.
Okay. So do you know excuse me, do you know the type of audience at certain events? Are there certain events designed for certain type of businesses or audience?
That's what I'm saying. So property networking area, fintech can be another area. More personal development.
So how do you work the crowd? How do you, if it's a powerful tool, how do you work the crowd? Rajesh, are you able to answer that question? You think it's a powerful tool? How do you work the crowd? How do you work the attendees to get some business from that event?
Are we talking like a face-to-face event?
Yeah, a networking event. That's right, a networking event.
Well, I think the first thing is that you need to go in, not what I would say with an agenda, but with a bit of a strategy. Because when I used to network, obviously pre-COVID, when I started networking, like many people, I used to talk to people, collect business cards, and 6 months later, the business cards were still in my drawer. So I think you need to not target specifically, but find those people. The best thing to do is to ask questions and be interested in what people have to say. So if, say, like Lakhi, he's got an event on and he's standing in front of people speaking, he's targeting those people that are specifically coming to his event. So he's almost pre-qualified. The same, I would do the same thing. Obviously, the events that you're promoting or speaking at, they've got to be relevant to the business product or service that's tied into. So, like I said, if the events start opening up shops and seminars and stuff, usually what you have is you have some speakers booked in, free event. They come on stage, they talk about how they've started their businesses, whether it be property or business or trading, and then obviously they'll pitch to the audience, and then obviously at the end of the pitch they would suggest the audience go and go to the back of the room and buy their product or service. I think it's better to be a bit more subtle, to find out a bit more about someone. It's like you said, you can't, if you're going on, let's liken it to dating. If you're going on a first blind date, you're not going to suddenly start, setting a wedding date and naming the, of the engagement and the wedding. You got to know the person. I think it's the same with networking. I do actually miss the face-to-face networking. I think it's a lot better than online networking in a way, because you've got the body language, and you can ask questions. I think online networking sometimes is a step back. I know I've spoken this before, but it's a step back from when you're talking to a person on the phone. You sort of all you've got is some static photo on Facebook or LinkedIn, and then you're trying to connect with them. I think Zoom has helped in certain ways, but yeah, with my point being with networking, you've got to develop a relationship. It's business. I mean, the power of networking is very, very powerful. Whether in Lakhi's case, if you're looking for clients or investors, or if someone's looking for work, a job or a career, networking is 80% more powerful than standard ways of doing business. And it's been
I'm going to go back to that point. You were
okay.
doing a networking. You were networking, and 6 months on, you still have the cards in your desk. Is it a bit of an illness? Is it a bit of an illness? Is it more, seeking?
I think it's. I don't know.
A bit of insecurity, or
I think you're right. It's a bit of insecurity. It's a bit of insecurity and a bit of a fear thing, because you're sort of stepping out of the comfort zone. And the best thing is if you're going to network with people face to face, say going to an event, it's best to connect with them as soon as possible, because as everyone knows, we're all busy. Like I said, I'm not preaching. I've been guilty of this. When I first started networking, I would say, yes, I'm definitely going to call you. Let's stay in touch. And then I'd come home, put it in the bookcase or in a drawer. And then 6 months later, I thought, oh, man, I should have connected that person. And then you feel a little bit embarrassed, because you don't want to you haven't contacted them, and you just call them out.
Okay, so it seems like there's a commonality there, because Lakhi, I think you said you could do about 200 leads cards in an event.
A minute.
You could do them in a minute, yeah. But the question is, were you following up on those leads, or are those cards still in your drawer?
Oh.
Hello, Lakhi?
Lakhi, we can't hear you. Oh, yeah, now we can.
We have to follow up, because we get such a huge amount of volume of business coming in daily anyway. We'll just tend to get, let's just say, focused on business which is comes in directly through social media and internet, through natural networking. So it all depends on priorities. Usually for somebody that's going to be immediate business, then usually contact them that same evening and or the next day, and set up some sort of meeting with them quite quickly.
Absolutely.
But what happens is, if you leave a message or something and they don't contact you back for another week, sometimes the connections or the impetus gets lost. So I'd probably say I don't always get a chance to then follow up again second time round if don't really get the communication back. Things sometimes can get lost in the system.
So you got the same issue then? You're saying you do pick up lots of cards, but you don't really follow all of them up.
No, I don't get.
What's the percentage?
probably follow up about 50%.
Still good.
50%. That's okay. That's quite good.
Good.
What about you, Rajesh? How many? What's the percentage?
I wouldn't say as high as Lakhi. Although I'm getting better at it, I'd say it's about more 30 to 35%. But it was better than what I used to be, which was 10%. And going back to what something Lakhi said with the follow-ups, and I want to pose this question to Lakhi. How many times do you follow up before you realize that this person may not be interested? This is another thing, because I've had the same situation where I've wanted to connect with someone and I've called them, but I don't want to be a nuisance. So what I do is I give the like 3 strike rule. I'll follow up once, follow up twice, and follow up 3 times, and then that's it. Because then I know that I've done my part. I've reached out. But if the other person doesn't want to reciprocate, maybe what I'm offering is not right for them at this moment in time. So I don't know if Lakhi has a system.
What do you do, Lakhi? What do you suggest? What do you do?
Quite a similar system, actually. So it's a 3 strike rule. But usually, if I've met them, I usually quite a good gut feeling about whether there was an interest or not about something.
I think that comes with experience. It comes with experience, like you said, like he does.
Yeah, and I think, but if they choose not to ring you back, I don't always look at it from a systematic point of view. Sometimes people are genuinely busy with a personal emergency or work, or they've just got a very tight, regimented routine, and to try and get their time, you pick the slot when they're going to be more likely to be available.
Yes, it could be the case. Like you said, everyone's busy. They may not have got a chance, and then you may even get a call a couple of months later saying, "Oh, hi, Lakhi. Thanks for calling me. I'm really sorry I didn't get back to you. However, I was very busy. Please call me back." And we. So I don't think that the actual lead goes cold. I just think that it's a case of timing. And the other thing is, so a lot of people contact Lakhi. So say Lakhi goes to a networking event and someone wants to connect with him. If say it was me, for instance, I didn't know you, Lakhi, and I wanted to connect to you, and I called you a couple of times, and you weren't getting back to me, I may naturally assume at that point that what I'm offering or what the connection I'm offering might not be right for you at this time, but it might be just a case of you being really, really busy. You haven't had the time to get back to me, and then you may call me a month down the line and say, "Hi, Rajesh, I've been really busy. Obviously, I get a lot of calls every day. Let's set up a meeting." So it can work the other way around as well. I've had the same situation where people have contacted me, and I've said to them, "It's not the right time at the moment, but if you give me a couple of weeks' time, we can." And some people are happy with that because they're allowing me the flexibility to have a meeting with them over the phone or face to face. But other people are like, "No, we just want to. I need to tie a meeting down now, and that's it." But I don't believe in pressurizing either person you're connecting or the person that's connecting with you, because what happens is you then naturally get defensive and say, "Well, why is it so important to have a meeting right now?" You see what I mean? There's balances there as well. But going back to what Lakhi said, it could be that, yeah, they could be just very busy. I mean, I know we're all in lockdown at the moment, but people are still busy. They've got other, I know the kids are going back to school and stuff, but yeah, that is the case. I think with networking, it's a natural extension of humans connecting with other humans, and even more so now with the lockdown, as we're all even networking here. We're all networking together online on Zoom, on this podcast. The guests come and the viewers that are looking on here, they connect with us. They'll probably check us. I know they know both of you guys, but they may check me out afterwards and say, "Well, who's this guy that keeps coming on every Friday daytime? Let's see what he's like, and would he like to connect with me?" So I think networking is a natural way of doing business, and it's very powerful. Sorry, go on, Vijay.
Okay, what I was going to say is that you've got the element of networking. So which one is the right way to do network? Is it to have a slot in a network where you're presenting your own goods? Or is it better to just be managing the entire network where you've got options of bringing in the type of clients you want, being specific in your marketing? Or should you just go as a visitor and try and drum up business? What would you say, Lakhi Singh?
I think best and quickest, simplest way of actually generating business to be on the podium. And then match your attractions to whatever your products and services, and you can pitch it well enough, then by default you're going to be getting quality people to talk to who understand what your proposition is. So I think that's always the easiest and quickest route, but it's not always easy to be getting onto the podium unless you're quite, let's just say, long in the tooth in the market, your particular market, and you're known in that area.
I would agree with Lakhi.
Yeah, I think okay, that makes sense. But the point is, if it's a powerful tool, which bit is the powerful bit then? Setting your own up, having a stall in or a slot in a networking event, or just going there and mixing? Because I think there's an element there of people just going there for the sake of their own self-esteem. Because like you said, Rajesh, you've turned up, you've got thousands, hundreds of cards, you put them into the top drawer, you've not followed up. You can't be serious for powerful, requirements. It's just, is it not just a way of seeking comfort, or a way
I
of?
think you're right. I think you're right. There is a way of people go to networking events, and I've been guilty of this in the past myself. I used to go to so many at one point. I got recognized, but people couldn't remember my name. One lady kept saying to me, "I keep seeing you at all these networking events. What is it?" She thought I had some hidden agenda, but for me, it was just to basically grow my network. But you're right. Some people go to networking events just for the sake of going. They don't have, and like I said, I don't like the word agenda, but they don't have a strategy of who they want to meet and who they want to pitch. And going back to what Lakhi said, going on a podium or being a speaker, it's a lot easier, because what's happening is you're pivoting. I don't like the word pivoting, but for want of a better word, as an authority. Because as we well know, that fear of public speaking is fear number one. So if they see you on stage and they hear your story, then, and obviously they have to have an emotional connection, because people buy with emotion and back up with logic. But that's easier because they can come to you, and I've seen this many occasions where the speaker comes down on the break, and then there's a crowd that swarms him and asks him or her loads of questions. So there's almost like a connection. Whereas if you're at a networking event and you're trying to network the room, you're almost going in as cold, and there is this sort of barrier thing, this mental block. And I've had it myself. I mean, when I first started networking, I never used to sit in the front. Never used to sit in the front. I used to hate sitting in the front. And then someone said to me, "Why are you always sitting in the back?" And I said, "Well, I like sitting in the back." "Yeah, but don't you want to network?" So I started gradually moving from the back to the middle to the front. And then it just became a habit that I used to sit in the front and ask loads of questions. This is another way of building your networking connection, is because when you're sitting there and the speaker goes, "Does anyone have any questions?" And I always ask questions, even if the questions are silly, because someone else is thinking about asking that question, but maybe they're a bit shy of asking that question. My point being is that you have to try many methods. I don't think one method works for one person. But yeah, out of all the three, if you're known as an authority or an expert, or for a better word, is a maven, which is another word for a go-to expert, I think you're more likely to get a connection. But that's not to say that you can't just go to a networking event. You know, I mean, I know a friend of mine who's very successful in property, like Lakhi. He doesn't even go and see the speakers. He just goes and networks. And I said, well, why don't you go and see the speakers? He said, why do I want to see the speakers, Raj? I'll just go and network. I'll go and network. That's where he gets most of his business from. So I think what works for one person may not work for another person. And like I said, a lot of people will not go on stage to speak. They won't do it as much as they would love to. They don't do it. I've seen it firsthand. And maybe this is a topic we could discuss in a further podcast. But you have to try different ways. But yes, you need to get in touch with the person as soon as possible, because otherwise, what's going to happen is you're going to leave it in the drawer or leave it in your desk, or if you're at office, and then you'll say, "Oh, that person, yes, I remember he was a supplier or something. What's his name?" And you go and you think, "Oh my God, it's been in my dress for 3 months or 6 months," and then you have this sort of. It's rather like a friend. When you haven't called a friend for a long time, right? And you call your friend and you say, "Hey John, how's it going?" Rajesh, "Yeah, I'm fine." "Oh John, what's up?" "I don't hear from you for about 2 years, and then you suddenly call me." You see what I mean? It's it works in the social. Yeah, it's just
suspicious.
It's just why,
Right.
why? And I'll be honest about this with my friends as well. If any of my friends are watching out there, I'm not always the best person to stay in contact. So I'm not preaching to anyone, but I'm getting better at it. You know, if a friend is needed, but it's the same in the social with your social network. It is with the professional network. Stay in contact. You know, follow up, as Lakhi says. If they don't reciprocate, maybe they're busy. Maybe it's not the right time. Don't get disheartened. I used to get disheartened. I used to think, oh well, if they don't want to talk to me, then that's fine. But that's not the right way of dealing with things. The mature way of saying, okay, I'll try in a couple of months' time. If not, when they're ready, then come back to me. You can go on and it's a numbers game again at the end of the day, like anything else.
Right. Okay, gentlemen,
great to
it's been a very
BJ.
brief meeting today.
Yeah, sorry
no, I
about
was
the
just making
technical
sure to keep the Yeah, no, I was on purpose blanking myself so that we wouldn't have a problem in the speed and the uploading, because sometimes just the picture can make a difference. So yeah, 2 minutes left. Got Mother's Day on Sunday apparently. So big shout out to the mothers, and
Happy Mother's Day.
hope everybody's looking.
If you're watching this,
everybody's lucky to have his mother still alive, to be taking the time out to see them, and those who've lost.
Very sad.
Sadness reaches out to everybody. So Sunday, Mother's Day. Right, the topic, Lakhi, can you see yourself asking silly questions to make yourself a bit of center stage?
I think you're the expert at that, VJ.
Very funny. Yes. Okay.
No. You asked some good questions, VJ. I wasn't just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Don't get on the wrong side of VJ Sal.
No.
Don't be doing that. Okay.
Don't be doing that.
Last minute, Lakhi Singh, can I have your wise words of wisdom?
So I think networking is very powerful, as long as it's targeted and you follow up. Make it simple as that. It sounds very simple, but if you can just follow those simple rules, then networking could transform your life and your business and your potential.
Rajesh, your point, and subject to the fact networking does come back online. What do you say? Is it powerful? What's the key thing that you should advise people to be doing once networking?
Well, what I've learned is that if you are networking, whether it's online or offline, is how can you help the other person? How can you give? Because in order to give, you will receive. It may not be from the person that you're giving to, but you will receive. So how can you help that person? And be interested in the person. A lot of times I've seen this at networking events where I'm talking to someone and they're not really listening to me. They're looking over my shoulder. And I know they're looking over their shoulder, but I sort of like, out of politeness, and maybe I've been guilty of that as well. So when you're talking to the person or listening to the person, listen to them, you know, keep your attention on them, but look at them as they're the only person there, right? Because
isn't that speed dating though, Rajesh? Before we finish today, speed dating, that's another way of doing networking. But obviously the outcome is different, but there is a come and there is an out. So we're going to say goodbye to everyone.
Thank you,
Lovely
VJ.
speaking to
Lucky.
you as usual. We will see everyone back next week, Monday to Friday. On Monday, particularly, we'll have the live, and Friday we have a live. And to everyone, I think, give your comments about Mother's Day. What do you think? Some lovely words to mothers and some lovely quotes would be an excellent idea. Take care, guys.
That's
See you
great,
next
VJ.
week.